T.D. Jakes' voice abruptly ceased during his sermon on November 24, 2024. His eyes rolled back, his complexion turned gray, and 2.3 million viewers watched in horror as he collapsed. However, the genuine surprise occurred when physicians identified the underlying cause. The untold story of Bishop Jakes' struggle for survival and his reputation is now being revealed as his empire is threatened by a $100 million lawsuit and sinister rumors are spreading online. T.D. Jakes was born in South Charleston, West Virginia, on June 9, 1957. He was reared in a small, close-knit family by his parents, Ernest and Odette Jakes. T.D. was the youngest of 3 daughters. His father was a diligent worker who established a janitorial business that employed more than 40 individuals. He cleansed significant locations, including the West Virginia Capitol building and grocery stores. His mother was a teacher who imparted domestic skills, including sewing and cooking. She ensured that all of her children acquired this knowledge, which proved to be extremely beneficial to her later in life. T.D.'s family resided in Vandalia, a segregated community, when he was a child. The 1960s were a challenging era due to racial tensions. However, the Jakes residence was consistently bustling with activity and learning. When T.D. was only 10 years old, life underwent a significant transformation, despite the apparent normalcy of his circumstances. His father developed a severe case of kidney disease. T.D. assisted in his care for the subsequent 6 years. The family is experiencing a difficult period, however, it has provided T.D. with a wealth of knowledge regarding compassion and suffering. During this period, he frequently remained in his bedroom, addressing his plush animals as if they were a large congregation of believers. This resulted in him being referred to as Bible Boy due to his habit of carrying a Bible and his enthusiasm for discussing God. T.D. was incredibly inquisitive about God from a young age. During a journey with his father, he discovered that the earth is perpetually in motion, despite the belief that it is stationary. This resonated with him and prompted him to contemplate the manner in which God operates in ways that are not always apparent. However, T.D.'s journey was not flawless. During his adolescent years, he experienced a period in which he strayed from his religious beliefs. He began singing gospel hymns at a party one evening, and a significant event transpired. He was so overwhelmed by the Holy Spirit that he fled the residence. He was reminded of his purpose and was brought back to God by that moment. At the age of 16, T.D.'s father passed away after a protracted battle with renal disease. He was devastated. He began to doubt God and experienced feelings of confusion and anger. Simultaneously, he was obligated to provide for his family. T.D.'s mother also fell ill, and he withdrew from high school 2 months prior to his graduation to care for her. Despite the challenges he faced, he persevered. He was fortified by this challenging period, which also enhanced his empathy for the suffering of others. He felt compelled to become a preacher during this challenging period. He knew that this was what God wanted him to do, despite the fact that he was still suffering and had doubts. At the age of 23, T.D. made a significant decision by establishing his first church. It was a modest shopfront located in Montgomery, West Virginia, with a mere 10 employees. He referred to it as the Greater Emmanuel Temple of Faith. Life was not simple at that time. In order to provide for his family and the church, T.D. worked during the day at a chemical facility. Additionally, his wife, Sarita, rendered substantial assistance by serving as a DJ at a Christian radio station. Despite their limited financial resources, they managed to make it work. Their church was diminutive and unadorned. T.D. even performed the piano for the choir. He frequently made the jest that if they had accounted for all individuals, including pregnant women and the deceased, on Easter Sunday, they would have had 40 individuals. T.D. had a unique style of preaching that resonated with the audience, despite the church's diminutive size. He discussed real-world issues and inspired individuals. The church expanded gradually, and in 1983, T.D. conducted his inaugural conference. Only 80 individuals attended. However, it marked the beginning of a much more significant endeavor. His potent messages of hope and healing would eventually reach thousands, particularly women who required encouragement. Bishop T.D. Jakes made a significant stride in 1996. He relocated to Dallas, Texas with a mere 50 families from his diminutive congregation in West Virginia. He conducted the inaugural service of the Potter's House in a leased structure on July 28. The event was a mere 300 attendees, but it marked the commencement of a significant event. The church required a larger facility within 6 months due to the influx of 5,000 visitors. Jakes acquired a 28-acre property for $3.2 million in December. Another individual previously possessed the property, however, it is now the Potter's residence. Initially, the service was of exceptional quality. The event was attended by more than 8,000 individuals, who occupied all available seats and remained in the overflow areas. Jake's message of optimism and his powerful preaching style resonated with all individuals. In 1999, the church experienced such rapid growth that it necessitated the construction of a new sanctuary. It was enormous. The cost was $45 million and the area was 191,000 square feet. It was inaugurated in July 2000 and has a capacity of 8,000 individuals. The church miraculously resolved the debt within 4 years. The Potter's House was not merely a church, it evolved into a global movement that transformed the lives of individuals worldwide. The expansion of the Potter's House was spectacular. The church had accumulated 10,000 members by the conclusion of 1997. 2 years later, the number had increased to 20,000. In response to the overwhelming demand for attendance, they implemented 3 Sunday services in 2000. Over 23,000 individuals attended each week. The congregation attracted individuals from a wide range of backgrounds and races, which was indicative of the diversity of Dallas. It was one of the largest congregations in the United States by 2005, as its membership had surpassed 30,000. The Potter's House did not conclude its operations at this point. It established campuses in additional locations, such as Fort Worth and Denver. The church broadcast its service to various locations on New Year's Eve in 2010, reaching a total of over 40,000 individuals in a single night. A weekly attendance of 32,000. It emerged as one of the most influential congregations in the nation. The church was not the only thing that T.D. Jakes expanded. He achieved success as both a filmmaker and a best-selling author. The New York Times published his inaugural significant work, Woman, Thou Art Loosed, was released in 1993. It was on the bestseller listings for 75 weeks and sold more than 3 million copies. Jake became renowned as a writer as a result of that novel, and he subsequently published over 40 books, which collectively sold over 20 million copies. Some of his books even achieved the top spot on key bestseller lists. He underwent a transformation into a woman in 2004. The film Thou Art Loosed grossed $6.8 million at the box office. His production company, TDJ Enterprises, produced additional films, including Heaven is for Real and Jumping the Broom, which collectively grossed more than $100 million globally. Jakes also hosted a television program known as The Potter's Touch, which was viewed by millions of individuals worldwide. His own talk program was even launched in 2016. And subsequently formed a partnership with Amazon to establish a streaming channel for his sermons and other content. Additionally, Jakes established substantial organizations. In 1995, T.D. Jakes Ministries was established and quickly gained recognition for its events, such as Woman Thou Art Loosed, which evolved into a major conference. The event in Atlanta was attended by more than 52,000 individuals in 2004. MegaFest, an additional event, attracted over 100,000 attendees and stimulated regional economies. TDJ Enterprises, his business arm, expanded into a multifaceted organization that encompassed real estate, music, literature, and films. The organization disclosed a $150 million real estate initiative in Atlanta in 2022. TDJ Enterprises was generating an annual revenue exceeding $500 million by 2023. Time magazine proclaimed T.D. Jakes to be the most proficient lecturer in the United States in 2001. This was a significant event. The article was published shortly after the 9/11 assaults, at a time when the nation was in dire need of optimism. Jakes was commended by Time for his capacity to establish connections with individuals and his message of healing. Jakes became even more renowned as a result of the cover story. His television audience expanded, and his publications were sold at an even greater rate. T.D. Jakes has accomplished far more than simply serving as a pastor. He has served as an advisor to U.S. presidents including Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump. The morning prayer service for Barack Obama's inauguration was conducted by him on January 20, 2009. This was a significant moment. Obama became the first black president of the United States on this historic day. Jakes did not conclude his efforts at that point. In addition, he collaborated with global leaders such as President Rawlings of Ghana, President Obasanjo of Nigeria, and King Abdullah of Jordan. He participated in a White House dinner for African leaders in 2014. Additionally, Pope Francis visited the United States in 2015. This demonstrates how Jakes has a global impact by connecting faith with politics. Jakes initiated discussions with the United States in 2015, which concentrated on significant issues such as criminal justice reform and racial inequality. In 2016, he discussed these concepts with Chris Matthews of MSNBC during a live forum. Numerous notable individuals, including correspondents and members of Congress, attended this event, which was broadcasted online to an audience of more than 1 million. This demonstrates how Jakes integrates spiritual leadership with action to address genuine issues. Jakes is also among the most prominent figures in Hollywood. His production company has produced films that have grossed over $500 million globally. In 2011, Jumping the Broom was one of his most successful works, earning it the title of the year's top comedy. Another film that starred Jennifer Garner was Miracles from Heaven in 2016. These films demonstrated that faith-based narratives could be successful in mainstream entertainment. Demonstrated his aspiration to expand his audience. Jakes is not limited to the production of films. He places a significant emphasis on assisting others. He established the T.D. Jakes Foundation in 2020 with the objective of raising $100 million for underprivileged communities. He formed a partnership with Wells Fargo in 2023 to generate $1 billion in resources for these communities. 16 organizations had already received $9 million by the beginning of 2024. The foundation provides assistance to individuals in need of accommodation, vocation training, and financial education. Jakes also initiated the Texas Offenders Reentry Initiative, TORI, which has assisted more than 42,000 former inmates in re-establishing their lives. A second opportunity is provided to individuals through this program, which provides job support, housing, and education. Jakes Church, also known as the Potter's House, is dedicated to providing assistance during difficult periods. Jake participated in a visit to the disaster areas with President George W. Bush following Hurricane Katrina in 2005. The Megacare program of the church has provided assistance during numerous disasters, including the 2010 Haiti earthquake. They provided thousands of meals to families in need during the COVID-19 pandemic. Jakes is also a savvy businessman. His real estate company constructs affordable housing and enhances communities. In 2023, he formed a partnership with a Miami-based developer to construct housing for families. He also conducts leadership programs to motivate others and writes books, such as his bestseller, Crushing. Thousands of individuals attend his International Leadership Summit to acquire knowledge about leadership in business. In the interim, T.D. Jakes has been embroiled in discussions regarding his stance on the Trinity for an extended period of time. In the late 1990s, individuals began to query him for using the term manifestations instead of persons when discussing the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This led certain theologians to suspect that he subscribed to modalism, which asserts that God is a single individual who manifests in three distinct manners, rather than three distinct individuals. Jakes' attendance at the Elephant Room Conference in 2012 ignited the controversy. He was explicitly questioned by pastors James MacDonald and Mark Driscoll regarding his beliefs. Jakes stated, "One God, three persons," which appeared to align with conventional beliefs. However, he later included that he did not appreciate the term person and preferred manifestations, referring to it as a term from the Bible. This caused confusion among individuals. Despite this, the term manifestations continued to be employed on the website of his church, which rankled his detractors. However, others believed that he was merely evading criticism, while others believed that he was attempting to alter his opinions. In 2016, a theologian stated that Jakes continued to employ language that left individuals uncertain about his true beliefs. As a result, numerous conservative Christians continue to query him. Jakes has also encountered opposition from conventional churches due to his teachings and preaching methods. His affiliation with the Word of Faith movement, which many contend disseminates false teachings, is a significant concern. Jakes was reported to have informed viewers during a Trinity Broadcasting Network fundraiser in 2001 that contributing money would result in blessings such as success, excellent relationships, and wealth. This message was at odds with the conventional Christian perspective that viewed giving as a demonstration of faith, rather than a means of obtaining something in return. In 2015, Jakes sparked controversy by asserting that if one obeys God, they will never experience financial hardship again. Critics argued that this message regarding money was both oversimplified and perilous. Some argue that his sermons are more analogous to self-help than genuine preaching, as they frequently incorporate Bible teachings with motivational speaking. In 2007, he astounded the audience by communicating in tongues without providing an interpretation during a live sermon, something that the Bible prohibits. Additionally, Jakes has been accused of neglecting to address the topics of sin and contrition. He criticized white evangelicals for placing an excessive emphasis on abortion and same-sex marriage, while neglecting social justice, in a 2019 interview. This infuriated numerous conservative leaders, who began to refer to him as a false teacher. The prosperity gospel is another topic of controversy surrounding Jakes. It is widely believed that he teaches that prosperity and success are the result of faith and obedience. This criticism is further exacerbated by lifestyle. He resided in a $1.7 million mansion, according to reports from 2005. Critics contend that this was in direct opposition to Jesus' teachings on simplicity, as they drove luxurious automobiles and donned designer uniforms. Jakes stated in a sermon that people require spiritual prosperity before they can achieve financial prosperity. Critics argue that this associating spiritual maturity with prosperity is misleading. In 2017, Jakes tweeted, "If you obey God, you will never be broke for another day in your life." Church members have even been reported to have donated their entire savings and subsequently encountered financial difficulties. Jakes denies that he is a prosperity preacher. However, his actions, such as establishing a program to train 1,000 millionaires, have prompted individuals to query his motivations. He maintains that his teachings are intended to assist individuals in overcoming poverty. It is widely believed that his message distorts the gospel and is more advantageous to him than to his adherents. T.D. Jakes' perspectives on LGBTQ+ matters have evolved significantly over the years, resulting in both admiration and criticism. Stated that it could be the result of maltreatment or poor parenting. However, in 2015, he astonished many when he stated that the black church and LGBTQ+ community could coexist and that every church and gay person was unique during an interview. Some individuals believed that this implied his endorsement of same-sex relationships. Jakes was compelled to clarify that he did not endorse same-sex marriage in response to the overwhelming backlash. He criticized white evangelicals in 2021 for excessively emphasizing issues such as same-sex marriage and disregarding poverty and racial justice, indicating a change in his priorities. Subsequently, Jakes declared in a sermon delivered in 2022 that conventional gender roles were no longer applicable in the contemporary era. This demonstrated his willingness to question long-standing beliefs, despite the fact that he did not address LGBTQ+ issues directly. Progressives and LGBTQ+ advocates perceive him as becoming more tolerant, while conservatives have distanced themselves from him as a result of these changes. Bishop T.D. Jakes, the renowned pastor of the Potter's House in Dallas, was unexpectedly associated with a significant litigation involving music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Record producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones filed a lawsuit against Combs on March 25, 2024, alleging that he committed heinous offenses. A claim on page 47 of the lawsuit was the source of the astonishment for many. It was reported that Combs intended to utilize his relationship with Bishop Jakes to enhance his public image in response to accusations of abuse made by his former fiancée, Cassie Ventura. Everyone was taken aback by Jakes' mention, which prompted inquiries regarding his relationship with Combs. The lawsuit did not provide an explanation for how, therefore, individuals began to speculate. Jakes and Combs had previously collaborated. Jakes' Kingdom Culture sermons were introduced to Revolt TV in 2021, a platform that was co-founded by Combs. Jakes attended Combs' extravagant birthday celebration in 2022. These occurrences prompted individuals to question whether their relationship was more profound than it appeared. The lawsuit suggested that Combs believed Jakes could leverage his status as a respected pastor to evade public criticism. The church and the entertainment industries were both taken aback by this concept. In late 2023, the situation deteriorated as rumors began to circulate online. Some posts asserted that Jakes had attended private parties hosted by Combs. However, these assertions were devoid of evidence. Nevertheless, Jakes' reputation was further tarnished by the rumors. Initially, Jakes maintained his silence regarding the allegations, which piqued the interest of the public. However, on April 15, 2024, he eventually addressed the audience during a Sunday sermon that was broadcasted to millions of viewers. He maintained that the allegations were fabrications intended to undermine his pastoral responsibilities. He characterized the accusations as an assault on his ministry and declared his intention to respond. Jakes filed a $100 million lawsuit against Rodney Lil Rod Jones for defamation a few days later, on April 18. He stated that the lawsuit's allegations were unfounded and had significantly tarnished his reputation. Jakes also pursued YouTube channels that were disseminating false information regarding him. He filed lawsuits on May 2, 2024, seeking $50 million from each channel and requesting that YouTube disclose the identity of the individual responsible. He was under the impression that these channels were employing artificial intelligence to fabricate stories about him. Jakes did not conclude his efforts at that point. He established an independent council of legal experts and trusted leaders to investigate the allegations in order to demonstrate that he had nothing to conceal. He granted them complete access to his personal archives and church records. Jakes underwent a lie detector test to demonstrate his honesty, and the results were disclosed on July 15, 2024. Additionally, he implemented new regulations, such as conducting annual background checks on senior leaders, and disclosed the church's financial records to the public. In 1924, Bishop T.D. Jakes was delivering a sermon to an enormous audience at the Potter's House in Dallas on November 24, 2020. In person, more than 12,000 individuals attended, while over 2.3 million individuals watched the event online. His sermon, Strength and Weakness, had lasted approximately 1 hour. Then, an unexpected event transpired. As he uttered the words, "O Lord, my strength, my Redeemer, let them go in peace," at precisely 10:37 a.m., his voice abruptly ceased. The entire church was silenced as the microphone plummeted from his palm and collided with the floor, emitting a deafening sound. Jakes began to shake violently. His tall frame, which is typically brimming with vitality, was trembling. His skin turned gray, and his eyeballs rolled back. The live stream captured every detail, and for nearly a minute, he was unable to breathe. The congregation was taken aback. Some individuals even began speaking in tongues, while others began praying aloud. The panic rapidly disseminated. The tension resulted in the fainting of 3 elderly members. This occurred on the exact day that Potter's House was established, which only served to heighten the tragedy. A day of celebration was transformed into one of dread 28 years ago. The church promptly responded. Within seconds, Dr. Mariah Stevenson, a cardiologist seated in the front row, jumped to Jake's aid. She initiated the process of monitoring his pulse and shouting instructions. The church's emergency plan, Operation Shepherd's Staff, was promptly activated by Marcus Washington, the head of security. As a result, the sanctuary was vacated, and 3,000 individuals evacuated promptly to make room for assistance. Concurrently, Sarah Martinez, an usher, dashed through the throng to retrieve the AED, accomplishing this feat in less than 30 seconds. 4 minutes later, paramedics arrived. Jake's condition was promptly stabilized through the administration of emergency medication and in 4. The church's helipad, which was erected only 1.5 years prior, had a significant impact. Jakes was transported to Methodist Dallas Medical Center by helicopter shortly thereafter. Although the flight lasted only 7 minutes, the spectators experienced each second as an eternity. Jakes underwent a lengthy 9-hour surgery at the hospital. His recovery was highly intensive. He required 47 units of blood and underwent 3 additional procedures. A team of nurses provided round-the-clock care for him during his 17-day stay in the ICU. Jakes made his first public appearance in a video call to his congregation on the 18th, just 24 days after the incident. His message was succinct yet impactful. He informed them that he had encountered a life-threatening situation but was currently in the process of recuperating. By itself, that video generated more than $4 million for the cardiac unit of the hospital. Jakes exerted considerable effort to recuperate. He spent hours each day in physical rehabilitation, under the supervision of one of the most accomplished specialists. Additionally, he implemented a rigorous diet that was prescribed by nutritionists and sought treatment with sophisticated oxygen therapy. Jakes maintained an active schedule throughout his recuperation. He has recently published a new book titled Reborn: Finding Strength in Life's Valleys. From his hospital bed, he dictated the entire book. And when it was published 3 months later, it was an immediate success, selling more than 2 million copies in its first week. Jake's return to the pulpit on New Year's Eve. In person, more than 18,000 individuals attended his performance, while an additional 11 million individuals observed it online. He appeared lean, yet he was brimming with vitality. His sermon, The Comeback King, was both inspiring and emotive. The audience members wept as they listened, as they were moved by the impact of his words. It was a moment of optimism and triumph, demonstrating that one can rise again even in the face of the most difficult adversities. TD, a modest church in West Virginia, is where Jakes encountered Sarita Jameson. In 1982, TD, who was only 23 years old, served as a guest minister. Sarita, who was 26 years old, was immediately attracted to him. Their connection was so robust that they were married on May 29, 1982, just 6 months later. Their journey together commenced at that moment, and it was characterized by both affection and challenges as they transitioned into a life in the public eye. Over the years, they established a family that consisted of 5 children: Sarah, Cora, Jermaine, Thomas Jr., and Jamar. It is never a simple task to raise children, but the added pressure of doing so in public posed its own set of challenges. In 2009, Jermaine, their son, was apprehended for indecent exposure, which garnered major media attention. The family endured a difficult period, however, they persevered. Their children have performed admirably, despite the occasional setback. Sarah, who was born in 1988, is a renowned author, preacher, and mother of 6. Thomas Jr., who was born in 1994, has established himself as a media personality and music producer. Relocated his ministry to Dallas, Texas. This was a significant transformation for the entire family. Sarita and her children encountered numerous challenges during their transition to a new city and lifestyle, however, they maintained their unity. TD and Sarita had been married for 42 years by 2024, and TD referred to Sarita as his soulmate, stating that she was his ride-or-die partner. Despite the ups and downs, their love remained steadfast. TD Jake's attention was not solely directed towards his family. He was more occupied than most individuals could have imagined due to his occupation. The Potter's House, his church, was initially modest in 1996, however, it has since expanded into a megachurch with thousands of members. While authoring books, producing films, and releasing music, he preached 4 lengthy services every weekend at its height. He had authored more than 40 novels, released nearly 20 albums, and produced an innumerable number of films by 2024. In 2018, he conducted over 150 sermons and visited 16 countries. He frequently missed significant family events as a result of this type of work. He acknowledged in a single interview that he was unable to attend his son's high school commencement, a decision he regretted. TD was able to incorporate his family into his work, despite the fact that his schedule was extremely busy. Sarita assumed a leadership role in their congregation, overseeing the women's ministries. Following in his footsteps, their daughter Sarah pursued a career as a writer and pastor. However, reality continued to challenge their fortitude. Sarita underwent surgery in 2012 to address a herniated disc. TD was reminded of the significance of family, despite the demands of life, as he had to balance his work and caring for her during her recovery.